Hello. Now, I know this has been a long time coming. It's been a while since I've actually done a review. This will be a review of Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. Now, this has recently just come out. I'm, of course, going to be comparing it to the playtest rulebook as well, and give an honest review of how I feel about these. But first, I do want to apologize. The reason why I haven't done videos in a while is, well, for one, lack of an interest in what I've been posting. So, trying to do whatever I can to get that up, as well as taking care of some personal issues, such as finding a new job, and things like that. So, thankfully, I was able to get things taken care of because, well, unfortunately, this doesn't pay the bills. So we're going to start with with a few things, and then I'm going to give my full review of what I think of the game. Now, with that said, a brief message from Lola the cat.
Like and subscribe, just like this.
Okay, thank you very much, Lola. Now, let's talk about a few things. First things first is some notable difference. For one, not much has really changed as far as the dice systems go. It's still the 616. All three add up to it. The middle die, of course, also functions as your damage die to make it into one big roll. Truth be told, that sort of takes away from the fun, in my opinion. That's what made D&D so great originally when I first played it, was, you just had to do this, you had to do that, and it kept a person busy. And when they're busy, they're having fun. If they're not constantly doing something, they're going to, not enjoy it as much. Now, first, some things that have changed that are big is they've really simplified a lot of the rules. I'm not going to go into each one. They've pretty much kept a lot of things. The ability scores, which is all based off the name Marvel, which I do admit I like, except for I didn't care for what the M is. M is for melee. I think that should have been might. Then there's agility, resilience, vigilance, ego, and then logic. Now, I have no qualms about any of them, except for melee. Again, should have been might, in my opinion. Would have made more sense. Health was simplified. It's now just basically 10 times whatever your character's resilience is. It's got its own good things and bad things about it. I'm not going to get too much into the nitty-gritty of those simplest things. Now, a few things that have changed in my personal opinion that was for the worst. For one is they got rid of the ability score, the levels. Instead of 1 through 20, it is now 1 through 6. Unfortunately, that is an interesting choice. One thing I do appreciate is this is a grid game, which means it's more, you place out the map and draw it up and people can see it, which is a lot better, in my opinion, than trying to visualize it. Nothing against the visual ones. I do love them, but does sort of lackluster in certain areas. Now, certain other things that I've noticed that they really, I have to say it this way, dumbed down was not only that, but, basically sort of like how D&D has this chart, you rolled this much, you got an 18, it's plus 3, I believe. Simple things like that. Now, they made that really simplified. The next thing is they got rid of, that's big, is the damage dice type is just that one die compared to multiple different dice. Personal opinion, not my forte. They also got rid of the archetypes, which is something I really dislike. It's, they had Blaster, Bruiser, Genius, Polymorph, Protector, and Striker. What I liked about these was it was a way to add extra flavor context to your character. They got rid of them completely. No mention towards it or anything like that. Now, let's see. Well, let's talk about a few other things here. Like I said, your levels or ranks, they made it go all the way down to a 6. They really simplified the rules. Things like a car hitting you was really simplified. Falling damage. The falling damage is, of course, by their grit blocks. You fall 3 movement blocks, you take times 1 damage, and so on and so forth. Every 3. Without knowing what the grit blocks measurement is, you can't even do it if you wanted to be like, your character falls 15 feet. Well, what's that in grid blocks? I don't know. So, that was rather not a good part. Now, other things that they did is, of course, they did a very short section on combat. And dealing damage was, like I said, simplified. And then same with a few things like focus and things like that. Now comes the interesting part. Your backstory. Alright. Now, your origins in the original rulebook actually had more oomph to it, which gave it I felt like made it a little more fleshed out. Now I'm going to use an example for you. Let me find it for you. Now let's see, mutant. It's always, there we go, mutant. No, that's, still the origins. Alright, so we'll just go with the simplest one. The Alien Kree. They give examples, Captain Marvel, the original Marvel, Hulkling, and it gives you tags: alien heritage, extreme appearance, blue skin, traits: breed different, enhanced physique. And then, of course, they give you suggested occupations, venture. Now their occupations, things like spy, things like that. And then it gives you these special traits. Now that's where things sort of fall off the deep end as far as I'm concerned. Now the traits like, there is one, the X gene. Which basically gives you absolutely nothing. It just means you're a mutant. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the point then? There isn't any. Unfortunately, these have nothing to do with actual in-game play. They're just something to identify your character. Me personally, I actually prefer backgrounds that actually mean something. Like mutant should mean something about your powers. unfortunately does not. And that also leads to the next part, which is your power sets. You have elemental control, illusion, magic, martial arts, melee, so on and so forth. Now, I have nothing against the superpowers, actually, believe it or not. They're, for the most part, they make sense. Some of them are a little too on the nose, like Spider Powers Shield Bearer. I'm pretty sure you can pretty much know who they're geared towards. Now, my problem is with some of these powers, like if you wanted to be a magician, none of the magical powers are takeable at rank 1. Now, however, there are some powers that are takeable at rank 1, like Blink. Character teleports into a clear space they can see or have been up to their rank in space away. Again, spaces, grid. That's great. But with such a low ranking system, that sort of makes Blink not as good as you might think. I mean, I get it as a defensive ability, but other than that, it's really meh. Most of the rank 1s are hand-to-hand combat. It's like, so what's the point of the level system at this point? There are a few things that are superpower, but mostly it's hand-to-hand combat thing or rank 1. Now, that's, to me, it's a different thing altogether. Now, the whole thing for, as far as character creations and everything else you need to know, is only 131 pages. Unfortunately, a good majority of it, well, let's see, everything from 131 up to 261 is all superheroes and supervillains. Now, that's where my next thing comes into play, is they give only certain minion stats. For one, here's a good average stat for a mob character, background character, is called the average civilian. Now I'm going to use that as my first point of reference. Rank 1. Okay. I'm fine with the rank 1. Truth be told, it should be rank 0 if they're with their current system, but that's my opinion. Now, health 10, focus 10, climb speed is 5 spaces, run speed 5 spaces, swim 3 spaces, jump 3 spaces. Their ability scores are all 0. Giving all their defensive scores a 10, and of course all damage they do is only times 1 because they're only a rank 1. Now, let's go to a superhero that I actually prefer, which is Doctor Strange. Rank 6. 90 health, 210 focus. Ability scores, his melee 3, agility 3, resilience 3, vigilance 7, ego 9, logic 6. And then, of course, his defense scores are 13, 13, 13, 17, 19, and 16. I feel like his logic was, for some reason, put lower than his vigilance. And it's like, wait a second, Doctor Strange was a genius through the comic books. In fact, he was one of the founders of the Illuminati, which is all these geniuses from different teams. They were all higher intelligence, and I sort of feel like he got lost in the shuffle. Damage, melee somehow is times 6. with a +3 to attack. Doctor Strange physically punching somebody never. Yeah, I'm just blowing off of a tangent right there. Agility 7, ego of 7 times whatever you rolled on your Marvel die. Ego 10 times whatever you rolled on your die, and logic 7 times whatever you roll. Initiative 7, okay. But here's where things get really interesting. His powers, okay, he gets basic powers, max powers, those all make sense, flight, blah, 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 blah. Here's the part that sort of got me. Martial arts. Attack stance, defense stance, do this all day. Doctor Strange was never a combat person. He used his magic to do everything. And I sort of feel like, why would he have any martial arts at all, if any? Now, that also goes into my next tangent. What's the point of these traits and tags if they do absolutely nothing? Another issue with this game is, if you're supposed to be playing superheroes, they sort of give real obscure supervillains for you to fight. Most people don't know who hand ninjas are. Most know Hydra agents. I mean, at least, yeah, those are 2 minions that are easy. Vampires, most people don't realize they're there, but yes, those are minions. But here's the problem, is they give minions for those major groups, but none for, like, say, like Dr. Doom. He has none of his Doom bots. That sort of doesn't make sense. Why add Dr. Doom if you're not going to give him Doom bots? The same thing with Ultron. No drones? Then what's the point of having Ultron in here? Not only that, they really give obscure characters as well. It's, some of them are big characters like Ghost Rider, Gamora, but unless you know Marvel, you're not going to know who the Dora Milaje warriors are. You're not going to know who the Crossbones. Well, some people might know Crossbones. You're not going to know Clea. You're not going to know Blue Marvel, which I'm surprised with certain characters in here, like Blue Marvel, I understand. Black Bolt, who doesn't? Black Panther. Brawn, I was actually surprised to see in here, as well as a few other characters. I was actually surprised to see Devil Dinosaur. I was actually surprised to see Elektra, Echo, Enchantress, but certain characters I was actually really surprised by. Trying to find it. Let's see. Hulk, Bruce Banner, Iceman, Icarus, I was actually very surprised, but whatever. I mean, I understand Iron Man, Juggernaut, Katie Pryde, I of course understand. Kingpin, you gotta have Kingpin, but that also leads to my next thing. They have no simplistic, things for your run-of-the-mill bandits, your street-level thugs. That's where a lot of people, heroes made names for themselves, like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, as well as Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man wouldn't have been Spider-Man if it wasn't for a low-level thug coming and killing his uncle. Yeah, Maximus, I'm surprised to see. Mirage. Not surprised about Moon Girl. Ironically, not surprised. I'm actually surprised they don't have Moon Boy, but that's a different thing. But, alright, now I'm gonna get into the real tangents. This is the only RPG I've ever bought, and I'm glad I kept the receipt. I am returning it. I will not do anything further with this. I'm 100% returning this to the store. This is the worst RPG I've ever bought, and I bought it for myself as a birthday gift. And I'm dumbstruck. The game was made way too simplistic. If anything, it's worse than Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. I know some people like it, but that was oversimplified. And when you have something oversimplified, it takes away a lot of the fun, a lot of the meat and grind. I mean, that's what makes some of these games fun, is you get to put more thought into your character. You get to grind them out. You get invested. And when they're simplified like this, there's no investment. Truth be told, this is the kind of game you want to play when you just want to be like, walk around the store and every so often check your friends. Am I doing anything? No? Okay. Am I doing anything? Oh, we need you to roll to see if you jump. Okay. I jumped back to doing the store hunt. There is no investment in this game. And I will tell you, this is the worst piece of crap I've ever seen. In all honesty, the combat system sucks. The overall game sucks compared to what I originally saw in the role-playing tester version, which gave all these different things, which allowed me to make more of my character. Gone completely. Whoever they were listening to on these games should be fired. Well, no, they were listening to people who playtest. I'm just wondering if these people who playtest this were on dope or something. I know that's not nice of me to say, but it's awful. It is the worst game I've ever seen. It is not even making it on my shelf. If I had to give it a nice score, if I have to give it a score, which I will give you a little reference towards my score sheet. If anything, I would say Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition definitely at least ranks 6 or 7 out of 10. Where personally, me, third edition actually was a 10 out of 10. Was a 10. That's why it's always my favorite version of D&D. And yes, I started playing it 2nd edition, so it's personal preferences at that point. But this is a 1. If anything, it should be a -1. It is terrible. If anything, I will tell you, do yourself a favor. Take that $60 you was spent on this. Get yourself Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Or get yourself Fallout, the role-playing game from Modifius. Or if I really had to give you a good one, do Star Wars, either Edge of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, or even Force and Destiny. Sorry. Any of those are good RPGs to invest in. This lack of villains, mostly superheroes in here, and the only positive I can give it is artwork. Artwork is 100% great. But no, this is garbage, complete garbage. I'm glad I kept the receipt, and I will be returning it later today. I will not do any further videos on this. In fact, if anybody asks me, did I get it? I'm going to tell them, yeah, and I returned it too. So, yeah, so with that said, that's my honest review of the game. Thank you for listening. I hope you liked and subscribed like Lola asked you to do. And I look forward to doing more stuff now that I'm doing better. My next project is actually a good one. It's called Entertainment Smackdown, where I take different entertainment aspects, such as this, and I challenge it against something else. Good example is my first video that's going to be done on that is going to be from the hotels of Disney versus a hotel of Universal. I'm going to give you the complete stats, going to give you the complete rundown of each one, and, how far away it is and how much it costs. Because to me, cost is a very important aspect as well. But, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.